Have you ever noticed that heartbreak doesn't just hurt? It confuses you. One moment you're crying, the next you're angry, and then you catch yourself scrolling through old photos at 3 a.m., wondering how you got here. Heartbreak is like waking up in a foreign country with no map, no phone, and no idea how you got off the plane. And here's the truth: nobody told you it's not just about losing the person. It's about losing the future you thought you were going to have with them. That's why it cuts so deep. One of the most misunderstood aspects of heartbreak is believing that we're simply missing the person who's no longer in our life. On the surface, it feels that way. Their absence is everywhere. Their voice isn't on the other end of the phone. Their name doesn't light up your screen. Their presence isn't beside you in those quiet moments. But when you really look deeper, you start to realize that it's not just them you're missing. What you're grieving is the story you had built in your mind. It's the future you thought was certain, the little daydreams you carried in your heart without even realizing it. You miss the we. You imagine the holidays together, the way you pictured them meeting your family, the milestones you thought you'd celebrate side by side. You miss the vacations you never booked but planned in your head, the home you thought you'd share, the life you believed was waiting for both of you. These things never actually happened, but in your mind they were as real as anything else. When the relationship ends, those imagined moments shatter just as painfully as the real ones. That's why letting go is so difficult. You're not only saying goodbye to a person, but also to an entire version of your life that you were attached to. And here's the thing about this kind of loss: because the story existed in your imagination, it can be harder to move on. There's no clear ending to a dream. You can't look at it and say, that's over. Because part of you keeps rewriting it in your mind, imagining ways it could have gone differently. You find yourself replaying scenarios, wondering what might have been if one conversation had gone another way, or if one choice had been different. It's a mental loop that keeps you tethered to something that was never fully real in the first place. Understanding this truth changes the way you heal. When you realize that you're grieving a dream, not just a person, you can start the process of letting go of the fantasy instead of obsessing over the reality. You stop waiting for them to come back and fix things, because you see that what you're truly craving is a version of the relationship that never existed. It's a hard truth, but it's also a freeing one. Once you separate the person from the story, you can start writing a new chapter, one that doesn't rely on someone else to make it feel complete. People often assume that strength is shown in the happy moments when you're confident, when you're in love, when life is going smoothly and everything seems to fall into place. But the truth is, real strength doesn't reveal itself when things are easy. It comes to the surface when life knocks you down, when you're left staring at the ceiling in the middle of the night, wondering how you're going to get through tomorrow, when your heart feels so heavy that even breathing feels like work. It's in these moments, the ones you never asked for, that you discover what you're truly made of. Heartbreak has a way of stripping you bare. It takes away the comfort, the stability, the sense of identity you built around the person you loved. Suddenly, you have to figure out who you are without them. And that's where strength is born, not from pretending you're fine, but from waking up each day and choosing to keep going even when you're not. It's in the decision to get out of bed when your body begs you to stay under the covers, in the moments when you wipe your tears and step out into the world, even though your heart feels like it's still bleeding. Every small act you take in this time is a form of courage. Cooking yourself a meal, showing up to work, laughing with a friend even though part of you feels broken. These are not small things. They are proof that your spirit is still alive, that even in pain you are capable of movement. Heartbreak doesn't just show you how much you can endure. It teaches you resilience in a way that nothing else can. You learn that your happiness was never solely dependent on another person. It was always something you had the power to rebuild within yourself. What's remarkable is that, over time, you start to see the changes. You notice that you're not crying as often. You catch yourself enjoying a moment without thinking about them. You realize that the strength you once thought you didn't have is now a part of you. And here's the quiet victory. The person you are becoming through this pain is more self-aware, more grounded, and more capable of love than the person you were before. Heartbreak may feel like it's breaking you, but in reality, it's forging you into someone unshakable, someone who knows they can survive anything. One of the most difficult things to accept about heartbreak is that the person who caused your pain cannot be the one to take it away. Deep down, part of you might still be waiting for them to show up, apologize, and make everything feel like it used to. You might tell yourself that if they just came back, the hurt would disappear, but healing doesn't work like that. The truth is, the same hands that broke you are not the ones meant to put you back together, and the longer you keep looking to them for closure, the longer you keep yourself from truly moving on. When someone leaves, they take a piece of your shared life with them, and it's natural to want them to return it. You might think, if they can explain why, if they can tell me I mattered, if they can admit they made a mistake, then I can finally let go. But that kind of closure is an illusion. Even if you get the conversation you're craving, it rarely erases the pain. It might answer a question or two, but it won't change the reality that the relationship is over. The healing you're waiting for won't come from their words. It will come from the moment you decide to stop needing them to make you whole. This is where the real turning point happens. Healing begins when you choose yourself again, when you stop replaying what you lost and start building what you can still have. It's in the decision to create a life that excites you, even without them in it. It's in investing in your passions, reconnecting with people who truly care about you, and discovering parts of yourself you may have ignored while you were focused on the relationship. Every time you make a choice that honors your own worth, you're stitching your heart back together, thread by thread. And here's the most liberating part. Once you realize you are your own rescue team, you stop waiting for a savior. You stop seeing your healing as something dependent on someone else's actions and start owning it as your responsibility and your power. You become the one who writes the ending to this chapter, not them. And when you do, you'll look back and see that this wasn't just the story of a love that ended, it was the story of how you came home to yourself. Heartbreak may feel like the end of something beautiful, but in many ways it's the beginning of something even more important, the rediscovery of yourself. Through every tear and sleepless night, you've been reminded of one undeniable truth: you were brave enough to love. You opened your heart when you could have hidden it away. That choice alone is something to be proud of. It means you've experienced a depth of feeling that many people never allow themselves to reach. The pain you're feeling now is not evidence of weakness. It's evidence that you were courageous enough to truly love. As you've seen, much of what you're grieving is not just the person, but the story you built with them in your mind. Those dreams, those imagined moments, those unspoken plans, they were as real to you as anything else. Letting go of them feels like erasing part of your identity. But there's a freedom in acknowledging this truth, because once you realize you're mourning a vision, not just a person, you can stop chasing something that never actually existed. You can release the what-ifs and start asking a more powerful question: what now? That shift is where healing begins. Heartbreak has also given you a gift you probably didn't recognize at first, the chance to discover your own strength. It's in the quiet acts of resilience that you've proven just how powerful you are. Getting out of bed when you didn't want to, finding reasons to smile when you thought you had none, choosing to keep moving forward when standing still felt easier, these are not small victories. They are the building blocks of a stronger, wiser, more grounded version of you. This version doesn't just survive pain, it grows from it, and with every passing day, you're becoming someone who knows they can stand tall no matter what life takes away. Most importantly, you've learned that the person who broke you is not the person who will heal you. The rescue you've been waiting for has been in your hands all along. When you choose yourself, when you decide that your happiness and worth are no longer tied to someone else's presence or absence, You reclaim every ounce of power you thought you lost. You stop seeing the end of this relationship as a tragedy and start seeing it as a turning point, the moment you stepped into the life you were always meant to live. And in that life, the love you give yourself becomes the foundation for every other beautiful thing that follows. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this message. If these words touched your heart or helped you see your own strength in a new light, know that you are not alone on this journey. Heartbreak can feel like the end, but it can also be the beginning of the most powerful chapter of your life. I'm truly grateful that you allowed me to share this truth with you today. If you found value in this video, please consider liking it, sharing it with someone who might need these words, and subscribing so you never miss another moment of encouragement and clarity. Your support means more than you know, and it helps keep this space alive for people who need it most. Until we meet again, remember you are stronger than the pain you're feeling, more capable than you believe, and more deserving of love than you realize. This is not where your story ends. The best is yet to come. Take care of your heart, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you and goodbye for now.